Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Android Study Jams 2021 Recap 1. So, this is not going to be a teach all session, it is just going to be a recap for what you must have studied in the past 1 month from the Android Study Jams basic course in Kotlin. Hello, Tripti. Hello, Ayush. Hello, Ankit. Hello, Shubham. Hi, Aditya. Let's just wait for 5 minutes and then we will start our session. We are waiting for people to join us. Hello, 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 everyone. Okay, so it's 7:01. We'll be beginning our session at 7:05. Good evening, Jyoti Lakshmi. Hi, Tejaswini. Hello, Rahul. Who is the Asur? Hello, Tejaswini. Good evening, Krishna. Good evening, Chinmaya. Hi, Abhi. Good evening, Nandan. Good evening, Aditya. Get your friends, come on. Let's make this session a little more interactive. We want more viewers. Good evening, Rahul. Good evening, Abhishek. Good evening, Jayant Kumar. So it's 7:03, waiting for 2 more minutes. Good evening, Ujjwal. Get your friends, everyone. So there are two Ujjwals. Good. One with a single J and one with a double J. Good evening to both. Don't worry, I won't be taking much of your time of the evening. It will just last 20 to 30 minutes because it's just a recap. I'm not going to teach you everything. Just let everyone come and I'll then begin. Okay, okay, okay. So it's 7:05. Let's start, people. With 28 people are there. I don't care. Let's just start. Rest will come. So, welcome to the Android Study Jams 2021 Recap 1. As there are 6 modules in this session, in this whole course, I am going to take a quick review of the first 3 modules, and we will be zooming past everything which we have learned in the past 1 month. So I'm not going to teach you everything from that module because that would take about 5 to 6 hours, and I don't think that people are going to be that engrossed in this recap session. So without any further ado, चलिए शुरू करते हैं. As you can see, I haven't prepared any slide because I am going to take everything from a from a do yourself view. So let's just dive right into it. Participation, and as you can see that there are 185 responses. So these are the people among which the people who have completed who will have completed their their course on or before 10th January will be provided with the course completion certificates. And coming back to what matters the most, the Android Basics Kotlin course. So as you can see, there were 6 units here, right here. And as you can see, I have completed 4 units, and these 2 units, that data persistence and work manager, are the ones which I also have to complete before 10th, and it's 5th of January today. So I think I'll be able to complete these in 5 days. So let's take a really, really quick review of the first 3 units, and then we'll call it a day. So going into the first unit, you can see that there are 4 pathways: introduction to Kotlin, create your first app, build a basic layout, and adding a button to an app. So let's dive right into the first pathway, introduction to Kotlin. So as you enter into this pathway, you are going to see subpaths inside this. So it has 4 subpaths, or you can say 4 activities and 1 quiz. So the first 2 are videos which are optional. So we are going to completely skip that. मेरी मधुर आवाज काफी है. You don't need to listen to other people in this video. So, writing our first program in Kotlin. So we are going to provide a functionality to an app in Kotlin. So we are going to write the program in Kotlin. So we are going to open this up. This is a code lab. So we are going to take the code lab. And as you can see, I've completed everything. So all the circles are marked in a blue color here. So before you begin, let's just see what it is. So it's just some, documentation, some prerequisites, what you learn, what you'll build, what you need. If you're really enthusiastic, you can go through everything. And if you're not, you can just skip it. So going on to the second part, running our first program in Kotlin. So these things we are not going to install any extra app for running and the programs in Kotlin. We are just going to use the Kotlin playground. I have pinned it here. On clicking on it, it takes me to the Kotlin playground, and here whatever I type, it gets they compile the Kotlin code and print whatever they want to. So if you click here, the green button, it is going to print hello world. And if you just change it, uh, just a second. If you just change it to welcome to Android Study Jams Recap 1. And then you click on play, you can see that, okay, I have made a boo-boo there. It's not welcomer, it's welcome. Okay, no issues. So you can see that it compiles the code you give to it and gives you the output. So this is how you are going to run some basic things, learn some basic nits and grits about Kotlin before going into the actual thing. Evaluation stopped while it's taking too long. Let's try again. Okay, so that's a correct print. That sometimes happens when the server is too much overloaded. Okay, moving further, going back to the actual thing. So we have run our first program in Kotlin. So yes, now we can move on to next. And now we have to modify a program, which I already showed you how to modify that. And reading all this. So whenever you declare a function, you write the keyword fun and then the name and then brackets in which you can either put a parameter or you don't. That's entirely up to you. And if you had started yesterday also, I think you would have been through all this. And because this program is about to end in 5 days, so I'm assuming that everyone has at least completed this part. So moving on further, extending our program from one print statement to three print statements, as you can see here. So that's not a very biggie. Okay, so moving on further, the solution code for our problem. We don't need to say it. And now the summary for whatever happened. So you learn about the main function. Yes, the most important thing, the main function. Every Kotlin program needs to have the main function. It is from where the execution of the program starts. So it doesn't depend on what sequence you write the functions inside the program. You need to have a main function from where the execution begins, and inside the main function, the sequence in which you call the functions is followed, but the program starts execution from the main function. And you also knew how to println prints string and then moves on to the next line. And if you don't write ln there, just normal print, the cursor won't move to the next line, and the next print statement prints the same thing on the same line as of the string. So moving on further, so this is learn more for extra enthusiastic students who want to learn even more. They are not satisfied with it, so they can follow these links, and they can make themselves even more ready for the Android Basics exam. Okay, so moving on further. So now we are going to practice on our own. We are not going to practice because we have already done it. So we are just clicking on done. And yes, our third one, write your first program in Kotlin, is done. So create a birthday message in Kotlin. I don't think it is going to be that tough. It is just going to be typical Kotlin writing. Inside println, the parentheses, inside double quotes, you're just going to write happy birthday. That's it. And that's the introduction right here. As you can see, and yes, you will also learn how to make loops, how to use basic maths and taking complex texts. Okay, going on further, creating a birthday message, happy birthday Rover, you're already 5, similar to last. Moving on further, creating and using variables. Okay, so here you can see that there are two ways of declaring a variable. That's val, then the variable name, and then equals to whatever you want to assign to it. And the other way is putting var. So that we'll be seeing further. Just that if you declare anything as val, you are not able to change it. It becomes immutable in its value. So moving on to the next thing here, print a birthday banner with a border. So these borders are nothing, just some equal to signs which equals the actual length of the string. So that's it. Sandwiched, the text is sandwiched between these two lines. So this is just basic programming, basic printing part. And we can also create a function and call that function to print it. That is the modularity part, which is a very great you know aspect of programming when it comes to making programs, huge programs. And then and then using some signs and imagining them as cakes and candles because they seem to look like it. I don't know. So we are doing that so that we can understand how we are going to use our variables and how we are going to use functions for our for our use. And then the solution code, we don't need this. And then troubleshooting. So this goes on for the Kotlin programming tool. If you want to reload, you can use shift reload. So we can skip that. And now the summary, whatever we have learned. And yes, we have, if you have done this, you would have seen the repeat statement in which you write the keyword repeat and then a set of parentheses opening and closing, and then a set of curly braces. So whatever the so this function takes, it is an inbuilt function and takes integer as its parameter. So whatever integer number you write inside repeat, it's going to repeat that many times. So it can be, you can see it as an analogous, you can see it as an analog to the for loop in any other kind of programming. in which you have to write for I is equal to 0, I is less than whatever number of times you want to repeat it, and I plus plus. Here you just have to write repeat, and int that int thing in that int parameter inside the parentheses, and that many times it is repeated. So just taking a break, looking at the comment section. So here it is. Can't we use any other language for this, or only Kotlin? Yes. See, there are two factions of Android development. In first one, in which you use Kotlin, which we are using right now. It is the most popular language for Android development, and also the actual Android development team has accepted this language as the official language. So this is the best thing which you can do right now. So I would suggest you people to go about and learn anything else. But there is also another pathway, which is an older way. You can also use Java as you know, as a backend programming for providing functionality to your apps. So so that's it. And moving on to the next thing, learn more. Again, we are going to skip it, and now we are done with the create birthday message in Kotlin also. And now there is the quiz. Whatever you have learned, you take the quiz, and you pass the quiz. If there are 10 questions, you have to correctly answer 7. If there are 5, you have to answer 3. That's the pattern which these quizzes take. And after completion of quiz, you will see a badge earned message here with introduction to Kotlin badge, which when you click on your view profile, you can see that you have that badge on your profile if you do it correctly. As you can see, I have it you know, right here. Where is it? Here, introduction to Kotlin. Okay, and this is how this is what you have to collect. You have to collect about 15 to 17 of these. If you have collected all of these, then you will be provided with the uh, task completion certificate. Okay, so let's go back to the comment section for a bit. Okay, Bhaiya, I am facing difficulties in testing part in unit 2. Okay, so right now I'm in unit 1. When we go back to the testing part, then we'll see what to do. Okay, Aditya? When we go to unit 2, that time your doubt will be, addressed. And just keep in mind something, that testing is a way you should do something. It is not the way that you only have to do it that way. Testing is something which I'll come to soon. Just let me finish this unit first. Okay, so that was just introduction to Kotlin, and now it's creating our first application. So click on this. Now I'm not going to go through each and every line. I just did that for you for the first unit, first part, and now I'll just be skimming through, just reminding you people what we have learned in this past 1 month. So the second thing is downloading and installing Android Studio. I guess everyone would have installed Android Studio by now. And after installing Studio, we have to build our first Android app in Kotlin using Android Studio. So how we do that? So just imagine that you have installed Android Studio. For the people who haven't, and those who have, they already know. So going on further, opening up my Android Studio. Tick Fox. I really like this design. Okay, so it's loading some dummy application which I had created some time ago. No issues, I'll create a new one. So here you have to click on file, and then new project right here. And after that, it is just going to ask me for some details. And so it is, you can see that phone and tablet is selected because that is what I am going to aim my application for. And then I have to select this empty activity. You can select from all various these activities after you know what Android development is very well. So if you don't know what it is, if you're just learning, then close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. I mean, just trust what the course is going to tell you and select this empty activity. This way you can design whatever you want to. And then you click on next. And now you give your application a name. So recap one. Okay, and then we click on finish. We wait for a few minutes because our system is not a super fast system. It just has 8 GB of RAM and works on Ryzen 5, so it will take a little bit of time. And by that time, I'll be looking at all of your doubts. Okay, so there are no doubts. That's really interesting. No one is asking anything. We have to wait for the Gradle project to sync. After that, we can actually work on everything, and after that, our project directory comes into play. So we are going to wait for the Gradle project to sync, and after that, only we can work on it. So is 16 GB RAM and 2 GB RAM is fast enough for this 2 GB graphics card? Obviously, that's an overkill, I'd say. Silent Assassin, you can read about whatever is needed in its Aditya Sinha, please have patience. I'll go to the second unit, then I'll explain about testing, right? I have to do it step by step. I can't cut my way through and explain testing right away. I'll go there slowly, don't worry. 16 GB is, you can, okay, we'll go to that after some time. As you can see, there is the Gradle project has synced, and everything is you know at in place. You can see whatever things are here. So you can see there are actually many kinds of views which you can have of the same project. As you can see, it has been selected Android here. If you select on project, you will have a slightly different view. You can see everything is going to be same, nothing is going to be too different, but there are going to be some differences here. But you can see this as a project or as Android. You can see right here, the directory structure is also almost same. So okay, moving on further. Hmm, okay, create and run your first Android app. So let's just do it if you want to. Where is the, this is our thing, and just clicking on this green button, my emulator will open, and I will be seeing this on screen using a smartphone emulator. Let me just show you how to make it using AVD. So after clicking here, if you already have made, you will have a option of mobile phone here. If you don't have it here, you can go to the AVD manager right here. You can click on it, wait for some time. Yes, and now you can create a virtual device right here. This button, select any virtual device, 6.7-inch horizontal fold in. So because this Android Studio is bleeding edge, it's the latest technology. So it is going to have the dimensions of all the foldable phones which we have in today's date, such as Galaxy Z Fold and Moto Razr revamped version. So that's this horizontal fold in phone comes in handy. This is fold out phone, the Galaxy Z, and the Galaxy Z is a fold out phone, and Galaxy Z Flip is a horizontal fold. And you can see older phone versions also. Nexus is here, Nexus 4, Nexus 5, Nexus 6, Nexus S, and Pixel 5, Pixel XL. Let's see if we have a Samsung here. No, we don't. Okay, no issues. We are going to go with the most optimum screen size. Let's go with this Nexus 6, which is actually very close to 6 inches diagonally. And then we are going to select what kind of system image. System image means the operating system which the emulator is going to have. So let's select the latest one, R. They are not naming it, after sweet dishes anymore, guys. I don't know why. Anyways, so we are going to select Android R. We are going to select next. It is going to be in portrait mode. Very good. And the name will be Nexus 6 API 30. Okay, so that's good. And now we are just going to click on finish here. Okay, Nexus 6 API 30. So that's how much space it takes right here, 513 MB. The other one takes about 9.4 GB. I don't know why it's taking that much. So let's just skip that part. And after clicking on play here, your AVD started here. You can see here, right here. Everything which goes on in Android Studio, you can keep an eye right here. So the AVD has started. Okay, so here you can see the Android emulator. It's just going to load in a few minutes. And here you see Android, a device Nexus 6. It's going to power on. Praveen Kumar, is there any way to build faster in Studio? What do you mean by that? I don't genuinely understand your question. Is there any way to build faster in Studio? I don't understand your question. Sorry. Will you please rephrase it? Okay, so it's taking a bit of time. Anyways, you can see how this emulator works here. So let's just run our program on it. Let's just run our Android app on it. So clicking on this green button. Okay, so emulator process has terminated. Creator build is running, guys. Patience. We need to have patience. Okay, until then we can just move forward. And yes, you can also run your app on a mobile device. You can connect your mobile phone via uh, a USB cable to your computer, and by turning on USB debugging on your phone, which you get on clicking developer options, which you get on activating developer options, which you can get by clicking the model number or something 5 to 10 times, and then you can switch on the USB debugging mode, and that makes it your phone ready for testing your apps which you create on the Android Studio. Okay, so the mobile is turned on, the emulator. Let's just give it some time. Okay, and now learning the basics of Android tests. Listen carefully, whoever wanted to listen about Android tests. Okay, so we are going to open it. Everything is taking a little bit of time. Okay, learning the basics of Android tests. Before you begin, we are just going to skip that. So what is testing? See, what happens is that when you create any functionality in an Android app or any kind of app, you're just writing code. You're just writing code, and you personally believe that this code is going to perform in a certain kind of way based on the input, but you actually forget the corner cases, some kind of input which can throw your function into disarray, such that if you have a function where you're adding one the number one to the int parameter which it gets, and then you print the answer, and then you write the number 2 raised to 64, whatever it comes in numbers, and that you send through the int thing, 2 raised to 64 minus 1. That's the limit of the int. If someone sends that to your function and it tries to add 1 to it, then it will go out of bounds, and it will print the minimum value instead. So that's not how you intended your function to work, right? So that's why we need to write testing code, so that you can cover those corners. So let's take an introduction to automated testing. So the main agenda of performing testing automated is that अगर आप लोग वो सोच ही पाते, if you people could already think of the corner cases, then there won't be any need for testing. You need testing for the cases which slip out of your mind, and you
Guys, there has been some issues. Summer will be joining us in some time. So please have your patience and wait for some time. Summer is facing some technical issues. Until then, you can just comment your doubts so that we can clear your doubts until then. So comment some doubts here.
Okay, so Amisha Kirti. I see a doubt about corner cases from Aditya. So you can say corner cases are some kind of exceptional variables, or uh, like when we assign variables or we assign parameters and we forget if it tests on zero or like that. So that is on programming. Similarly, in Android development, when we forget, like if your phone gets off, so that might be a case. Then what will your app do in that case? So such cases can be termed as corner cases, and in testing that might be checked.
Okay, so Summer has joined us. Until then, you can just comment out your doubts. Okay, Summer, you can go ahead. Summer, you are muted. Please unmute yourself.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I just forgot to unmute myself. And I went through all these things. So let's just restart. What I was saying last time when before my computer went off abruptly was that if you already knew how to how the corner cases of your programs are going to work, there won't be any need for testing. So you don't know how these corner cases are going to work, and that's why you need automated testing. And nowadays, a new way of the development is going on, known as test driven development, TDD. Earlier it was functionality driven development, FDD, in which you did not work for the corner cases, and that used to become huge security risks, and also a problem for corner case functionality inputs also. So nowadays we are prompted and encouraged to use TDD, test driven development. And that is what testing is. You have to be you have to, when you create a program, you create a program out of the bare necessities. You take small parts, and then after stacking it on top of another, one on top of another, you create a bigger app. And if you ignore testing at the basic level, then after 10 steps, 15 steps, 2 to 10 layers later, there is a small error which comes, and you can't get quite rid of it because it was an error in a function which you wrote 10 functions earlier. So if you don't test your the function as soon as you write it, it is going to cause a lot of problems for you. And to avoid that, we are encouraged to write our test code as soon as we create the function. So this is how you should do things, and this is not the way you definitely have to. So we are students, we always stay in a hurry, and everyone just studies 2 days before the tests, and no one studies it for the knowledge, because everyone says that you should study for the knowledge and not for the marks, but everyone here studies for the marks. Am I right or wrong? I know I'm right, because everyone does it, because I'm also a student. So we are not going to, do everything this course says. We're just going to do really interesting things, because, testing is really, really boring. As you can see, there is nothing you have to do here. You just have to read and read and read and read. If you want to, yes, you can read. Very good. And if you don't want to, you can skip. But I definitely don't recommend you to skip this, because the tests, the actual quizzes are going to be from this part. So just make sure that you read it, and even if you don't get it, you don't have to pluck out your hair from your head. You can just, if you don't even understand, just read it once. If you have even a faintest idea of what this is, you can easily walk through everything. You can, you can move further. So Aditya Sinha, does it mean that we should write tests for every function we create? See, it is advisable. You should study to gain knowledge. So do you study every subject to gain knowledge? Do you remember everything which you had studied from class first to class 10, because you should study things, you know for the knowledge? Did you really study history and civics for the knowledge, or you just marked it up and wrote it down on the answer sheet and just got marks? So uh, we should write everything. We should write the test for every function we create, but would we? That's a question you should ask yourself. So moving on further. So going on next, and this is the congratulatory message. We're just going to get rid of it. So that was the basics of Android tests, and then the quiz for this thing. So now our second pathway is also completed, and we are going to the third pathway of the first unit. Okay, so moving on further, the Kotlin basics. The third pathway, it teaches us how to build a basic layout. Okay, so now we are going to talk about layout. So layout actually of everything, even this page has a layout which tells it how to place this piece of text in what design, in what font, in what place, and whatever functionality. Everything is defined in a piece of code, a long string of code. And for web development, that language is known as HTML, hypertext markup language. And for Android application, let me just restart my Android Studio. And for Android application, it's XML. I don't remember the full form for XML, but we can skip that. So where was I here? So designing a birthday card app. So when we design anything in Android Studio, we write the code in XML. And let's just see the thing that this text has to appear in a certain font at a certain size on this part of the screen, and this text from Emma has to appear in this font at the bottom part of the screen. This is defined by the XML file which we find in the layout directory of our project. As you can see here, this layout, this activity main.xml, or double clicking it, you can see this is the design pane of this part. It is very interactive. You can just drag and drop things from this pane, this palette, and the code will be automatically written for it. And the other thing is code. If you're old school, you don't drag and drop, you just write. You can visualize what you're writing. So this is for you. And for people who want to have the best of both worlds, can use this split button, in which you have a code right here, and you have a this pane right here. If you just let's just invoke the palette and drag a button from there and add it on the screen, and you can see that the button is added on the screen. Let me remove the palette. As you can see, the button is added on the screen right here, and the corresponding code was added in front of you right here. So this is how this thing works. and this is the constraint layout. Sometimes you change it to relative layout, and sometimes you change it to something else, whatever you want to. So when we are using this this design palette mostly, so you use constraint layout here. And these are the you can understand them as placeholders. You just click here and just point it to here, and the button goes up, and now you drop the bottom anchor, and now the button is going to be in the middle of the top anchor and the bottom anchor, because you haven't defined anything, any constraint. And now for the left anchor we just click here and we give it the left anchor. And now for the right anchor, click here. So that's how it's done. And now you can just drag it anywhere from top to bottom anchor. It will, you know, uh, you know, uh, so it will, adjust the code. It's on itself. Wherever you drag and drop the thing, the code will be adjusted on itself. So it's really, really fun to play like this. You can really make some interactive, layouts using this. So moving on further, let's see what we are going to. Okay. What you will need: a computer with Android Studio installed. We didn't even know that at this point of time, did we? Clicking on next. Setting up our happy birthday app. We are not going to set up our app because we already have set up our app. I won't be doing that again and again. My computer went off because of this. And these are just text which introduce you to different parts of the Android Studio, which you need to know for making an Android application. Okay, so let's go back to the comment section for a bit. But yeah, what is the significance of the green colored screen in right to the main screen? See, what happens is that when you are stacking, views on top of another, one view on top of another, two, three views are there, two, three images are there on top of another. So what happens is that you won't be able to see one view which is behind the other one. So this green screen actually, you can see through things. So if I, drag this, I'm just trying to, yes, I'm dragging it down. So as you can see that this button has, in the white screen, this button has completely covered the hello world text, and I cannot see if there is something behind this button or not. But in this green screen, you can actually see that it shows that there is a text saying hello world behind the button, but in actuality, this side, you can't see anything. So that is the, one of the many functionalities of the green screen. It actually tells you, it gives you a skeletal view of everything so that you can find out which button is on top of another. So that makes designing a lot more easier, so that you don't accidentally cover up something while designing. So yes, that's the use of it. Okay, moving on further, going back to the course. Okay, so yes, there are multiple things which you can add. If you want to add an X, if you want to add a text, you use the text view. If you want to add a button, you use the button. If you want to add an image, you use image view. If you want to add scrollable list, you use recycler view. If you want to add, your navigational elements, you use fragment. And if you want to add a switch, you can add switch there. All Every app, every Android app is built up of only these few, you know building blocks. You can also see containers, Google, legacy, layouts, widgets, and buttons. They are different types of things, but whatever we need for this course is right here. So this is what I just told you. You can add the constraint from left, right, top, and bottom. You can also write. You can also specify constraints. In regard to other parts of the thing, other parts which you have inside your XML file. And then you can also stylize the things. If just come here into the Android Study Jams and click here, and you click on this attribute pane, you get all the attributes of this thing, and this whatever you have selected here, and you can change it. So the text is hello world. So I just change it to and you can see that the thing has changed here. It has, uh, it has changed from hello world to avatar. So that's actually the attribute of this text view right here. And many more things are, are part of the attributes of any kind of thing here. You can set up the ID which you can use in further to provide a functionality on click, on hover, many more things. You can use transforms, you can use all different kind of common attributes. Okay, so the number of viewers is dropping, so we'll just zoom past and finish this recap session without boring you any further. So that's the solution thing. We don't need to see the solution. Now it's the summary, and now the learn more. We don't need to learn more. And now was building a basic layout. That was actually, I think, the third pathway. And now going on to the fourth pathway, adding a button to the app. So let's just explore. And you can see classes and object instances in Kotlin. It's a really long thing. I'm not going to open it because it will take 40 to 45 minutes to for me to just explain you what classes and objects are. If you have read and you have have read to actually learn about Android application, you know what an object and a class is. If you have prior experience of object oriented programming, then you know what classes and objects are. And this is where you learn how to write unit tests for all the functions, and using those unit tests you debug your app. And this is a video which tells you what you can build using these basics. And this is the project which you build using these basics. I'll just show you how this looks, so that you can assess your your okay. So this lemonade app is actually, we have to make it. I don't think that they have provided us the link for this application, so we won't be able to run their solution. So let's just skip this thing. Okay, so all the four pathways for the first unit is over. Just a recap, nothing else. And now we are going to look at the second. So the second unit is layouts. So layouts, it's actually the unit which tells you how to make layouts for the Android applications which you are going to develop. So this actually helps you learn about how to get a user input in an app. Clicking on it, you can see welcome to unit 2 layouts and tip calculator app introduction. In this, you know how you take input from the user. You usually use a button, and if you want to take a text input, you usually use a input tag in which you input your whatever you want to, and then there is a submit button on click of which the entered value into that input part is taken into account, and it is just fed into the computer, the not the computer, the program which you have built, and then some processed output is shown. And yes, like I said, XML layouts are the things in which you define how the app must look. You can see this is named as activity main.xml. And moving on further, so calculate the tip app was there. We made this application, and then we gave the quiz to test our knowledge, and that's how we got this batch. Going on to the user input number 2. So this is a getting user input number 2 part. You must have opened this explore button. You must have changed the app theme. The app theme is decided from this part. You can see you go to values, and you go to colors, and you can see that this is the theme for the your application. You can change this color name and the actual hex code for this color. That would actually change it here. And then you have to change this name in your program as well, wherever in your backend program as well, wherever you have used this name to provide the color there, so that it actually changes the look. That is how the themes are involved in this one. And then you can change the app icon. So while going it, so every resource, every kind of resource is stored in this res directly. And in the MIP map IC launcher, you can actually see the application right here. And inside the IC launcher, there are six different sizes of this app. app icon. This one HDDPI, HDPI, MDPI, XHDPI, double X HDPI, and triple X HDPI. So that is in increasing order of dots per inch. Uh, that means increasing order of the resolution of the application logo, and this is the XML file in which the code for this uh, background and foreground part is written. An application icon is made up of three parts: the background, the actual icon, and the foreground. So that different kind of mobile phones have evolved over time, which you know influence the icon shape itself. So this is how they do it. They just influence the foreground and the background, and the rest looks whatever they want to look like, whatever they want it to look like. And sorry, that's see. And going on here. So after that, we write instrumentation tests, and then we take the quiz. And after going through the quiz, we get this, badge also. And now going back to layouts. Now it is the display a scrollable list. This is really, really important. Everyone must pay exclusive attention to this part when they are going through this, this study material, because this is how you are going to create an app. Any app, the most basic part of an app is the scrollable list. As you can see right now, if you are in the live chat, you can see that you can scroll among the, uh, you know, okay, Aditya, if you have to design an icon, then what should we do? If you want to design an icon, you just design that icon in XML file and just replace this thing right here. This all these WebP files. Just make an whatever icon you want to, and just replace all this IC launcher WebP and this IC launcher XML to suit your thing, and it will automatically change the icon. So going back to the course now. And yes, so this is what makes the most basic part, the scrollable thing of your application. The recycler view, it is really, really important. The recycler view is a blend of multiple concepts, so you must pay exclusive attention to this part. It will give you lists, adapters, and many more things, how to show them in a scrollable list form or in grid form. Everything is taught in this part. So you need to pay exclusive attention to this. So after learning everything, we take the quiz, and if you pass in this, then you get this badge. This is a really, really important. I want you people to mark this. And going back now. And proportions. Okay, so Aditya, if you want to know the proportions, you just right click on the actual application, default icon, get all the proportions you want to from there, and then just design your application in any third party app you want it. Not your application, your logo in any third party app you want to. Okay, now going back to layout. So this unit is also complete. Okay, and now going back to the Android basics and Kotlin thing, and the third unit, which is the last unit, the navigation. So I'll just be skimming through this. It's really, really deep. You must have studied. You had 1 month, and I can't vouch for the second years, because they also had their end semester exams with us. But the first years you had the whole time in the world. This 1 month announced the uh, we announced the beginning of this event on about 5 or 6 of the last month itself. So you had almost a month, more than a month, by 10th if you are studying. So all this you must have done in really depth. So I won't be going inside this. So how we navigate between screens. So there is a thing called intent. So there are two kinds of intents, an implicit intent and an explicit intent. So an explicit intent is called when you want to navigate into the page of the app itself. So it is an explicit intent, and you have to exactly specify what the function is going to, transfer the. So just a minute, I'll just be back. There is some kind of issue back there. Just give me a few minutes.
Okay, so by the time summer returns, the audience, you can share how much you have completed, like how much you have actually understood.
Hello, am I not audible? Everyone? Hello,
Yes,
please.
Sama, you're audible.
So, was I not audible earlier?
No.
Okay, so I'm audible now. Okay, so yes, what I was saying was that I was called off by the warden. I live in the hostel, so that's why I had to take 5 minutes off. I'm really sorry for that. And we are moving on further. So, okay, so now what happened? So, now what I was talking about, that there are two types of intents. One is an explicit intent, and one is an implicit intent. And explicit intent is an intent in which you specifically specify what kind of application or the functionality you want to open. So that basically happens when you have to navigate to the second page of your same application. And there is an implicit intent in which you don't specify what kind of application you have to open. It's just the request is thrown into air, and the Android operating system itself catches that the intent which you have thrown in the air, and decides what is the best way of moving forward with that intent. Such as, if your application wants to show you a link of a web page, so it will throw an implicit intent, which the Android application, the Android operating system will decide what kind of application based on your preferences. Also, you must have chosen a default browser for your mobile phone, which may not be Chrome, which may be some other browser, which it may be Opera browser or Brave browser, whatever it is. So that is implicit intent, in which the Android operating system itself decides what to open, what application to open to process that link or whatever the intent has been thrown at it. So that is known as implicit intent. That is one way of navigating between screens. Other way of navigating between screens is using jetpack architecture, navigation architecture, using fragments. That is a lot faster and a lot better than using just explicit intent. So that is what is taught in this module. You go through all these four tracks. You complete all the quizzes, which I tell you, you cannot complete if you just skim through, because I tried doing that and it did not work. And then I came to know that I can't I thought that I know this, so I wanted to skip this, but there was a lot more of information inside here which I did not know. So I had to go through this in deep, and that is how I cleared all this. And then the unit 3 of this navigation was over. Okay, so that was the 3 units which we were going to cover in this recap session. I know this recap session went a little longer than we usually which we usually do, and it's 8 o'clock, so I'll be ending it right now. And for everyone, now I would want to speak in Hindi. So अगर आप लोग यहाँ नए हैं, अगर आप लोग यहाँ पर नए हैं, देन आई वांट यू पीपल, हम चाहते हैं कि आप हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें। अगर हम मेरी मधुर आवाज़ पहली बार सुन रहे हैं और आगे भी सुनना चाहते हैं, देन आई वांट यू पीपल टू सब्सक्राइब। आई डोंट नो व्हाट यू डू नेक्स्ट आफ्टर सब्सक्राइबिंग, जस्ट सब्सक्राइब टू आवर चैनल and like this video. And yes, please follow us on Instagram and every kind of social media there is, because we exist on every kind of social media platform, and we need followers. So thank you, and now I'll be ending this. So I request the backend team to end the live